Okay, so welcome everyone. Today is Tuesday, the 12th of April. We are doing our live analysis, maybe live trading session with our Traders Club members for the 8:30 news, 8:30 GMT plus 8 news for the US CPI data to be released. Could be quite a high volatility scenario, could see the dollar strengthen quite significantly, or rather that's what I'm looking for. Okay. So if you are a club member on the call right now, please feel free to unmute yourself, ask a question, type in the chat, ask a question. If I'm looking at trades or looking at charts, take notes so that you can help me watch out as I'm going through many different charts as well. So take notes of price levels that we might trigger some trades heading into this session. So quickly first, quick disclaimer, any information shared in this video is not intended to be a trade recommendation. So remember, to your own, it's solely the opinion and views of the speaker, myself. So please remember to do your own analysis prior to entering any trades. Highly crucial at this point because we are looking at the news event. Here, looking at Forex Factory, we had a bunch of news. I was sharing with you guys the pound news this afternoon. Came out quite a good number here. Average hourly earnings increased from a 4.8 to a 5.4. Didn't do too much to the pound. Actually, pound weakened. Claimant count actually went to minus 46,000, 46.9 thousand. Again, didn't do too much. And unemployment rate went from a 3.9 to a 3.8. So what we actually saw was the pound weakening at that 1.3. Let me just check the number. 1.3 level, weakened below that point and then bounced back up. Now still sitting at that support level. So just be careful of that. We saw as I spoke about this morning, the Eurozone economic sentiment again. I thought it would be worse than that, but it's still in the minus 43 number. Worse than previous, not as bad as expected. Again, didn't do too much to euro dollar. But the main event for tonight is at 8:30 in about 20 minutes time. The US CPI number month on month was 0.8%, expected at 1.2. So we're expecting that increase in CPI. CPI is the inflation number. And then core CPI looking to stay at that 0.5% because it's not considering or excluding food and energy. So oil prices are out of the equation for core CPI data, right? So the thing about CPI is that when you look at it, the month-on-month number expected 1.2%. I think it might even come up to 1.5. And then the year-on-year number, if I can bring it up, the year-on-year number was 7.9. We might even see a 8-point-something% for the year-on-year on the CPI. So just with that expected, if we do see a stronger CPI number, then we are expected to see the dollar strengthen, because if we see 1.5 or an 8-point-something on a year-on-year, then that's going to force the FOMC into taking more aggressive stance, more aggressive action into their rates decision. So last month they did a 0.25%, 25 basis point increase. Expectation is for May to do for them to do a 50 basis point in May. But I'm repeating over and over again, the last meeting minutes they said that they're looking at 50 basis points and also subsequent meetings they might do 50 basis points. So it's not likely to be a one-time event, especially if we do see the inflation number continue being higher than expected and continue moving into that historic high levels. Okay, so quite important here and relatively straightforward in terms of the US strength or trading that US strength data. Looking at the dollar index, what's happening? We were just talking about it this morning. It's at that 100 level. So I'm looking for it to break. If we do see that stronger CPI number, then we're likely to see this push higher above that 100 level, close above that 100 level. You see that it's been, I'll zoom in a bit, you can see that it's been struggling to break above that 100 level. And that's also why we saw a lot of consolidation in terms of prices across the other pairs. So it's been trying to go up, failed, came back down, trying to go down, failed, bounced back up. And then you see all the prices sitting in the current range at a very low point as well. So just be aware of that. What I'm anticipating, I don't think it'll go all the way towards that 101 level. I think that if we see 101, 120 or 130, 40, it's significant. It's a very big move already. You can see that just by dollar index going from 99.50 to 100, we actually saw a very big move in the euro dollar and the pound dollar and the yen as well. So we saw that big move just from that 99.50 to 100. So I'm not expecting this to shoot that up all the way, right? It's going to move up to 100.20 or 100.30. It's a massive move already. So with that, what we could expect, right, very quickly, I'll just show you this, a couple of things I was looking out for. The first one is the yen, right? So yen broke above that 124 or almost 125 level, and then now it looks like it's sitting consolidation. I go into the H1 time frame. What I'm interested in for the yen pair, for the US yen at this point, for this news, is at 8:30, right? So bear in mind we're looking at 8:30, which is this hour. Maybe I should do an M15. No. Okay. So on this hour, we're looking at it to break above that point, above this 125.7.71 level, right? So it's at 125.49 now, or 125.50 now, looking for that 20 pip move towards the upside before buying. So what you could be looking for here, and this is where you start taking your notes, is that US yen on the news release, I could be looking for a buying opportunity, and then my stop loss will be below the recent low point, just keeping a bit tight. So 40 pip stop loss there. Then your take profit, I wouldn't put a 126 just because it's a bit too near. So I would say put a 40 pip, 1:1 risk reward ratio towards the upside for the US yen, because if it can move up this 20 something, 30 pips and break that point, break that 125.75 level, then we're going to see quite a big upside, especially given the news data pushing it higher. At this point, bear in mind that sometimes I would have told you guys to enter trades before the news. I wouldn't do it for this news. I would say give it time, let it move up. See the news first, then look at the price moving. If it moves, if you see good news for the US, or rather strong CPI for the US data, and then you see price moving towards the upside for the US yen, then get into a trade. This is not a news that you want to jump in before, because it might shoot up, trigger your trade, and then turn back down again. So just be careful there. But this is one that I'm looking at, the US yen on the H1 time frame. The other one that I thought was going to be quite good, but I'm having second thoughts now, is the euro dollar. Okay, so it started moving down. I thought that if it broke that 108 1.0842 level, or even that 1.0840 level, you could be looking to sell, but just be very careful. I shared this morning. Looking at it on a daily time frame here, we are at a very, very low point, right? The last time we came to this point was back in 2020. So you could be looking for this to come down if it breaks below. But I was looking at this when this candle was forming. I thought if it was going to be a stronger red candle towards the downside, we could look to the next hour to sell down. or when the news release to sell down. But at this point, it looks like the euro dollar is likely to come down to about there and then bounce back up. So I'll be a bit more careful with the euro dollar. So you see, I've now looked at US yen as a possible good news scenario. Euro dollar, be very careful. If it does break below, close below, then I'll move this line. Oops. I'll move this line slightly lower. So if it closed below 1.0840, you could be looking to sell it down towards 1.0790. In this case, you'd be looking at about a, how do I do this? Okay. A 20 pip stop loss and about a 40 pip take profit, a 1:2 risk reward ratio towards the downside for the euro dollar if it closes below that 1.0833 level. I think it's possible, but a bit risky. So just be careful with that. In the event that we see an upset, right? So if we see, for example, here, the CPI number doesn't come out at 1.2, it comes out at 0.9, right? So it upsets, data is an upset, it comes out at 0.9 or 0.7 as a surprise to everyone. And maybe the year on year doesn't climb towards the 8%, it stays at 7.9. Then what you could be looking at as a counter will be the US CAD. I actually think this would be quite interesting because, if we're looking at dollar strength, we're looking for the US CAD to push higher, right? So we're looking for the US CAD to push higher. At this point now, at this 1.2622 level for the US CAD, you have two scenarios that you can take advantage of. At 8:30 in the 9 minutes, so I'm rushing a bit now, at 8:30 in 9 minutes, if we do see a stronger inflation number, then you can be looking for that buying opportunity. I wouldn't wait for it to break towards the upside there, just because that is about a 20-something pip move. Actually, you could, no. Okay, so if it was a good news, then you can be looking to get into a buying opportunity anywhere from 1.2659 or 1.2660. From here to 1.2660, let's say at this point, your take profit will be about 50 pips, will be about 50 pips. Your stop loss can be about 25 to 30 pips. You're looking at a almost 1:2 risk reward ratio towards the upside for the US CAD. But if you do see an upset in the CPI number from the US, you could actually have a selling opportunity. So a lot of times, all the other trades might be counter trend or might be too risky to go counter. What you could be looking at on the US CAD will be to sell below this 1.2621 level. So I would say at about 1.2613. Okay, stop loss again, very tight 20 pips. Take profit at about 40 pips. You could be looking for that counter trend scenario with the news being an upset. So, it's all going to be dependent on what happens in 7 minutes with this data. The two things I'm looking at will be the US yen, possibly the euro dollar. In a good news scenario, the US yen towards the upside, right? US yen towards the upside if it breaks above that 125.74 level. The euro dollar will be a bit of a risky one. This will be a scalp, right? A very short-term one that you can look to sell down below that 1.0840 towards that 1.0790 level. Short-term, very short-term trade. This one you have to manage very closely. And if you see an upset coming from the US, then you could be looking at the US CAD towards the downside. If we don't see a good news as well, you could be US CAD bouncing up. At this point, what you realize is there are a lot of trading opportunities with this news data. Just bear in mind that you don't want to jump into all of it. I actually possibly like, in a good news scenario, the US yen for sure. And I think I like the US CAD more than the euro dollar because euro dollar at a very low point, I would say that you can sell it down, but just be very careful with that. The US CAD is actually got about a bit more space to run up to if we see a good news scenario. So what else can we look at? Just quickly, the Aussie dollar. I wouldn't do anything on the Aussie just because it's sitting right in the middle there. So in a good news scenario for the dollar to get stronger, it'll push lower. It's only a 32 pip move towards the downside before it bounced up. And you can see that when I zoom out, the last time it got there was March, but it's actually breaking higher. So I wouldn't be too tempted to think that because of this news, because it's bounced up, if it stayed at that point and it's a news, then I would say sell down. It'd be a great trade. Because it's bounced up, I would say be a bit more careful. There are other better trading opportunities, such as the US yen or the US CAD or the euro dollar, right? Kiwi dollar. So Kiwi is sitting there. So I like, I like the Kiwi more than the Aussie. So comparing, right? When it comes to news events, you have to compare which ones you want to get into. I like the Kiwi more because it is sitting at this 0.6843 level or 0.6842 level. I'm looking for it to break lower. So this trade still holds valid. I shared with you yesterday. If it goes below 6826, then you can look for that selling opportunity because of the stronger CPI data coming from the US or likely stronger CPI coming from the US. But bear in mind that tomorrow we do have the RBNZ with their rates statement and rates decision, looking at a possible rate increase as well from a 1 to a 1.25. So if that does happen, then make sure you're not holding on to this trade for too long. I think that if they don't say anything too crazy in a statement, we're likely to see the Kiwi dollar come down tonight and then tomorrow bounce back up again towards this 6843 level. You can see it's happened quite a couple of times. So I'm looking for that same scenario here for it to track down from this level towards 6737. I don't think it'll go all the way. And then after that, with a good news or good statement and rates decision, it could bounce back up again. So I'm looking for a similar move. Let it come down tonight. Even if it comes to 6785, get off the trade. Tomorrow morning, you could be looking to buy the Kiwi back up. So with the news in 3 minutes, I like Kiwi more than Aussie. I like the euro for a quick scalp. I like the euro more than the pound. Okay, why I like the euro more than the pound is because if you look at the pound, it's dropped as low as 1.2984, so that's 15 pips, bounce back up. 1.2991, bounce back up. Again today, 1.3, bounce back up. So just be very careful at this point. I wouldn't even be looking to enter any trades on the pound dollar. You can see the last time it got there in March, it bounced quite significantly again. And then we haven't got any other data from there. So just ignore pound for now, right? For tonight, just ignore pound. I prefer the euro than the pound. I like the US yen. Then looking at the euro yen, right? So euro yen is sitting right in the middle there. If we anticipate that a stronger dollar is going to pull the euro dollar down, that's going to come down. But expecting the US yen to push higher, then that's going to push up again. So it's sitting right in the middle there. I would stay away from the euro yen. I would say that if in any scenario there was nothing else to trade, then I would say, yeah, I would probably look to do a speculative buy, to see whether I could get in here, take profit at 63 pips, stop loss very tight at about 30, 1:2 towards upside. But I think that there are many other trading opportunities rather than trying to force a trade out on the euro yen. So we had some chat with club members just then. about the euro yen. Last night or yesterday, past couple of days has been going up, hit that 137 level and turned back down. So I would be extra careful about what happens here on the euro yen. Okay, so this is how I actually go through my trade selection when I'm looking at the currency pairs and what to trade during the news. News is in 1 minute. Let me go through the last one very quickly. Pound yen, again, same picture as the euro yen, sitting right in the middle. With the pound dollar sitting at that 1.3 level, I would actually be looking if the pound is going to bounce, right? If pound is going to bounce, not because of the dollar tonight, but pound going to bounce in the longer medium term, then we could see the push towards upside above that 1.36 level, then look for that buying opportunity. All right. So with the news now, what's released? Let's see, 1.2. So it came out as expected. Core CPI actually dropped. So there's a bit of a surprise there. So this is without the oil and energy, right? Without food and energy, excluding that. So it's actually dropped. So it actually shows that inflation has dropped slightly if you don't consider oil and food or energy and food. And CPI actually stayed at that 1.2, right? So now looking at this on the 12th of April, over the last 12 months, all items increased 8.5% before seasonal adjustments, so quite high at 8.5. All foods were the largest contributors, so that's the standard one. In contrast, cars, well, used cars and trucks fell at 3.8. Rising 8.5% for the last 12 months anyway. So month on month, they went from 8.5. It was previously, I think, 7.9. So we did see an increase in the year on year, and also the month on month, but it didn't increase more than expected, right? So coming back to the charts again, you can see here the euro dollar, because it's not that big number, right? So the last time we had, the last month or 2 months ago, 0.5, 0.4 came out 0.6, this is 0.6, 0.8, 0.8. This one stays at that 1.2%. We did see that now pushing a bit higher. Don't rush into the trade yet. I think that it will take some time until they filter down to the year-on-year number. Then we might see the dollar strengthen again. Dollar index turning down from that 100 level. I think that it's possibly going to test this level a little bit before possibly moving up again. Let's look at US yen that we were just looking at just then. So US yen still tracking lower, no trade to trigger. At this point, what you could be looking at is the US CAD. So we were talking about this as a possible counter. So not ready yet. Bear in mind that the trigger level was 1.2613. So it came down towards that point, hasn't closed, hasn't done anything. I will go into the M15 just to show you. Right, so this is the news, came down. Look for this to close below, right? It's not ready yet. And this is the hardest part, waiting for the candle to close. You're thinking, if I wait too long, I can't get into the trade. You have to be patient. You have to wait for it to close, because it could very well come down and then turn back up and close above and then move up again. So let it come down, let it try and close below this trigger level, see a solid candle form before jumping into a trade there. All right. So what else? Let me see. Anyone looking at any other charts, you can let me know. Aussie shot up, so right, Aussie moved up, not looking for any opportunities there. This is because Suyun just then said live trading session. So whenever we have live trading session, it always goes against whatever we were planning to. Kiwi dollar now bouncing up from this 0.6842 level. Might be interesting if it stays above. You could be, don't enter a trade for the euro, for the Kiwi dollar now, but this could form up quite nicely for tomorrow. If it stays at this level, then tomorrow morning you could be looking at, let me move this a bit. Tomorrow morning you could be looking at possibly like a, from this point, a trade up towards that 6926 level. Keep your stop loss quite tight, 30 pips, 70 pip take profit towards upside, quite possible there with the rates increase expected coming from the RBNZ. But at this point, still wait for it. It's only been 5 minutes since the news release. Could still move, turn back down. See, euro dollar has turned back down. We haven't seen that big move up yet. This is also because in the scheme of things, the year-on-year number is still, it's at 8.5%. You can see here, over the last 12 months from March, it's 8.5%. The last report over the last 12 months was 7.9. So inflation year-on-year actually went from 7.9 to 8.5%. So it's actually gone up. That's why I'm still expecting that dollar strength to come back in. But at this point, we're going to see it bounce around at this level before possibly turning back up again. So euro dollar. Any questions at this point? If you have any questions, anyone, feel free to unmute yourself, ask a question. Nothing? Okay. Pound dollar, well, that's why I told you to totally ignore the pound dollar. It's just sitting right there. Don't do anything with it. Euro yen, not breaking lower, still sitting at that point. Pound yen is still sitting at that point as well. So again, the focus we had on the euro, the Kiwi, the CAD comes back into play, and the US yen as well comes back into focus. Those that we didn't focus on, didn't move at all. So US yen spiked down, but it's bounced back up. So at this point, still watch it. It might, once it turns back up, you could be looking for that buying opportunity, but doesn't seem like it's going to happen in a hurry. Oops, no, not that one. CAD. Wait, I can't type. Okay. US CAD still sitting at that point. So not very interesting at this point. Anyone looking at any other trades or charts that you want me to look at? I'm still scanning across the other pairs, so it's all sitting right across. It's spiked down, it's bounced back up, it hasn't done anything at all. What's interesting here is you can actually see the gold. Gold actually started turning up from when the news was released at 8:30. It's turning towards upside. So that's not my chart. So yeah, gold is turning up, but I don't think, as I was sharing with you, I don't think it'll move a lot higher. I think this 1970 level is going to cap it. So I think it might go up a bit, but it will still sit within that range. No, unfortunately, it hasn't been. Euro dollar still moving higher. Nothing there. US yen still tracking a bit lower. Right, spike down. So I'm looking for that push. US yen, no matter what, I wouldn't be looking to I wouldn't be looking to sell it down just because of the way it's moving. It's been going up. The view is that, I'll sit there, I'll wait for it to break above 125.73, or if you want to be extra safe, then 175.80, then you can be looking for that buying opportunity above. Once it gets above the that level, right? How high can it go? At this point, I would say that it'll be every round number. So I'll miss that 126. I would say your next level would be 127 there. So you can look for buying opportunities if it breaks above that point towards 127. All right. Nothing. Aussie bounce back up. So I'm not looking to buy the Aussie up. Kiwis, right? It's tried going higher. Kiwi tried going higher. Looks like the tail is forming, it's coming back in a little bit. So just be aware there. I actually like this for tomorrow. So I like to see it sit there. It can go up a little bit higher, but then turn back in, bounce around at this level, do something like that, do like this again. And tomorrow morning, you can be looking for that buying opportunity up on the Kiwi dollar. But at this point, nothing now. Nope. Euro dollar, nothing. Pound dollars. Pound dollar, what you could be, for those of you who might want to take a bit of a adventurous trade, will be to try and trade it up towards that 1.3059, 1.3060 level. That could be an opportunity there, a counter trend trade, but something that you would have to manage very closely. So were you going to say something? Oh.
USD CAD. I'm waiting.
Nice cat. Ah, look at that. So that seems like okay, this one, bear in mind, look at what's happened. It's big counter. So I do think that it can come down. Oops. I think that it can come down, but just be careful. This is a 40 pip downward move. If you're looking to sell, stop loss 20 pips, your first decision point could be almost 20 pips. So it might come to about that 17, 18 pip level. You have to look at it to see whether it's going to break any lower. If it looks like it's too strong, then that 40 pips is quite likely. Make sense? US CAD actually is moving very nicely. Are you getting into that trade? I would say based on the 15-minute candle, that's 3 minutes, wait for it to close out. You could be looking to sell it down. Short-term sell, counter trend sell. Okay, but I think that once it closes, it's going to bounce back up a little bit before resuming its downward move again. So it could bounce back up a little bit and then turn back down. So don't rush in, no need to rush into it yet. Let that 15-minute candle close out. Make sense? Oh, still going down. With any luck, it's going to go down there within the next 2 minutes and then you can't enter the trade. As I'm speaking, it's happening. The more it drops now in this next 2 minutes, the more it's going to bounce back up. I think it's going to bounce back up to that 1.2614 level and then turn back down again. So don't rush into it yet. You already missed that entry now. Don't rush into that trade. Let it close, let it possibly bounce, then after that get into the trade. Any other pair? US yen still coming down together with the CAD. Euro yen is, well, bouncing back up. So it's just in the middle. So that's why we don't want to do anything there. Pound yen is still sitting at middle point. So nothing there. US CAD again, right? Starting at small bounce right now. Uh, 1 minute to the candle close, to the 15-minute candle close. If you are, then as an update on this, okay, that's the 15-minute candle close. Going to see that possibly bounce a bit. Right, I think as an update, we're likely to be looking for a trade. You could be looking at a 1.260. If it stays below 1.2600, you can be looking to sell. I think it's going to come down a bit before bouncing back up again. Just be very careful. So did you get into that trade?
Oh yes, still in US CAD.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Making money already. Did you actually get in at 1.2613?
2611.
611. Oh, cool.
Slightly early. Yeah.
No, slightly. Oh, okay. So now you're in the money. It's very good.
Looking at Kiwi also, it's right above my resistance.
That one, that was 066842.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Or should I wait for confirmation, like after this candle close? Will be better.
Well, it depends how many trades you want to get into.
Okay.
I think for Kiwi, probably don't rush into it, especially with the news tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, leave it for tomorrow. You could see how it ends up tonight before, I think you might not have time to jump into a trade tomorrow. So you could
Yes, correct. Back to office.
you could put a pending order for that news tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Just depending on how this move ends up tonight. Anything else you were looking at? Actually, your US CAD is doing very well. It didn't bounce. It's still going down.
I think only US CAD and EU or Kiwi are moving well.
Yen is actually moving quite well as well, but I don't feel like selling the yen down.
Same.
Yeah, Euro dollar is pushing higher. The counter one that we were talking about is pound dollar pushing. See, the pound dollar is pushing back up. If it comes any higher towards that 1.3059, 1.3060 level, then you could be looking for that push. I'm still not entirely convinced that the dollar is going to have a very big downside. I think the dollar is likely to move down. I'm a bit surprised it's moving down so strongly, but I think it's going to move down. But I think we're going to see that reverse quite quickly as well when it comes in. Right. See, so even with all this news, March runaway energy prices and higher food costs could mean hottest consumer inflation since 1981. That's before I was born, right? But yet we're still seeing the dollar weaken, which is a bit surprising. That's the news we just saw. Yeah, so it's from 7.9 to an 8.5. So, all you need right now or later tonight is for an FOMC member to come out and say, oh, look, we're still looking at that 50 basis point increase. And then you're going to see the dollar push back up again. So just be careful. Have you hit your take profit yet, Siri, on CAD?
Yes, I just closed 15 pips.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just About to say on the 1 minute, it looks like it's going to turn back up a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, so at that point, if it breaks past that point, then we're likely to see, but I think it's going to turn back up a bit before resuming its downward move, slight downward move again. All right, so I'm happy we did the US CAD. I'm a bit unhappy that the dollar didn't shoot up significantly, and also I thought that this was actually my highlight. I thought this was the highlight trade for tonight, where we could be looking to buy the US yen up and see that move significantly like that from yesterday. I was expecting to break past that point and push higher, but didn't happen. So I'll still be monitoring that. Euro dollar is bouncing. I'm not keen on that. Aussie dollar is all bouncing. So everything is bouncing. And the thing is, you remember that I was telling you all, everything is at a very low point. Aussie dollar, okay, Aussie dollar not so much. It's got a bit of a reversal happening. Euro dollar is at a very low point. So I was very careful of the euro dollar. Right, so we haven't seen that low point since 2020. Pound dollar as well. So if you're looking to enter any of these trades, just be very careful. Very low point. Last time was again November 2020 that we saw that big bounce. So something could happen there. What was it as well? Well, US yen is at a very high point. The last time I traded the US yen towards that 125.50 level was back there in 2015, and now it's many years later and it's back there again. So just be very careful. The last time at this point, you can see that it's hit as high as 125.80, came back down, hit again, and then after that it's all the way down. So don't get caught trying to trade it all the way up. Do a bit more shorter term trades. And then lucky last, we'll be back to the US CAD. H4. Where are we? I don't know how to do this. How do I get to my current now? The US CAD is still coming down, but bounced a little bit. There. So it's bounced back up. I think that it is likely to continue, sit there a little bit or move up a little bit more before turning back down again. So just be a bit more careful with that. All right. With that said, anyone with any other questions? Tomorrow, during the currency call, we will be looking at the US pound dollar. We're looking at pound dollar and the euro pound again. No signals today. I didn't send out any signals today just because it's all been sitting in consolidation. Didn't see any trades happening at that point. Hopefully we'll see a bit more trades tomorrow. But bear in mind, tomorrow with the news, there's quite a lot of news tomorrow, right? So tomorrow we have the RBNZ, we have the pound CPI number, 6.2 to 6.7 year on year. So we might see that move there. That possibly why you want to buy pound, counter trend towards upside. And then Bank of Canada rate statements, rate decisions tomorrow from a 0.5 to a 1%. So I will definitely be trading that event as well. So I think that if you're not able to get any trades tonight, don't force it. Quite a bit more opportunities tomorrow. But then Thursday, and then on Thursday, but then after that, Friday, it's going to be a take a break day. All right. So with that said, any other questions? So you're happy she made some pips. If not, we'll end the session. Get back into some trades. CAD looks like it's coming down again. So just watch out for that. With that, trade safe, trade well, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.